Good evening, everyone, or for whatever time it is for you. Resting and recovery is hard work. Even if you're not moving, when you're going through a healing process, you're doing what's necessary, and sometimes that can be draining. But that's not what I'm here to talk about at this particular moment. I just wanted to talk a little bit about something called karmic transference, which is kind of more on the esoteric side, but I'm going to sort of break it down. I'm sure that many can reference the term karma. It's often spoken about. Karmic transference, in practical terms, and this is, by the way, this is mainly for entertainment purposes only. Let me put out that disclaimer. And I'm not a medical or therapeutic professional of any kind that's licensed to give to give medical advice or any kind of expert licensed advice. This is just coming from the perspective of someone who is working on her recovery, my PTSD recovery, my growth process while doing so, and the things that I've worked on and tried, and what's helped me, basically. So, karmic transference is spoken about in some more esoteric circles. To me, the practical way to explain it is responsibilities that don't belong to you being inflicted upon you. Responsibilities, a story, a growth process of your own, that doesn't necessarily belong to you. It's basically cleaning up other people's messes. And that's important because sometimes we may not fully realize that we are also doing that to others. And I know that people pleasers and people who want to come in and save everybody, and I've been there, they will pick up responsibilities unknowingly and knowingly for others, and sometimes even at some point in our lives, I'm sure many of us have discovered that we've also been doing that to someone else because, maybe we struggle with believing in ourselves or self-esteem, or believing that something is bigger than us when it's really not. And we just haven't learned how to cope yet. Kind of like, it's any number of things that we have inflicted or dumped on us to deal with that's not really ours, and it needs to be, almost returned to sender, but not in a nasty or mean way. It's just a story that they must process because everyone has their own growth to go through. You know what I mean? And please forgive me, I'm going to be switching hands because my arms are tired. But I made this realization, and please forgive me if I'm incorrect in any way. I do not wish to. Well, here's why I came about to this conclusion. I came across this term in other like more esoteric circles, but then I started to see how it parallels in everyday life and how you can, say, have conversations with other people in different circles about the same idea, but just with different terminology. And that's kind of how I came to that realization of that. But I also find that it has current moment applications. And not that I'm doling out advice, I'm just simply making observations of my own in case they are helpful, or just simply because I am aching to have conversations around it and curiosity around it and a better understanding. And current moment situations that I've observed pertaining to this have to do with I've noticed that there's a collective movement amongst Black women to rest and say no. I had one wonderful woman, creator, Black woman, who said, just practice the power of your no, in addressing other Black women who watch her channel. And I chose, I chose to listen because, of course, it's important to respect people's no and their boundaries. And then I thought to myself, everyone is playing the role they need to play right now, and we're all just figuring it out. And here's another thing. We expect people to come in and save us, and to me, that is a form of karmic transference, asking other people to come clean up our mess. And no, this is not about blame or saying anything mean or attacking. It's more about defining what you know your responsibilities are, getting to know yourself and what you need, and then thereby knowing what needs to be done. Clarifying your boundaries, i.e. your responsibilities. What can you do right now? What path can you take right now? What steps can you take right now? And in doing that and in clarifying that, instead of trying to force unity or push people to unify or organize or anything, which is important to do, not push, but to do those things, we have steps to take, I think, prior to getting to the point where we are naturally unified. And no one has to be, told to do anything different other than clarify their responsibilities and come to terms with the things that are seemingly too big and too scary to look at, but we must look at them, because that's the process of recovery. It sucks. It's painful. It can make you feel like every bit of life force is being drained from you. Your recovery will be nonlinear as you come forward and pull back to look at something. Almost like retrograding. I know people are afraid of retrograde, but retrograde is taking accountability. That's really all it is. You're looking back over the work that you've done and what else needs to be done. It's a gift, not something to be feared. I like using esoteric terms sometimes because it reaches certain audiences, and then I also can blend it with language that's relevant to people who don't necessarily fall in esoteric belief systems. But there's a meeting in the middle there. We're just interpreting it differently. And it's going to suck, Recovery is painful, personally and universally and globally, on a mass scale. waking up from illusions and realizing that your power has been slowly drained from you or controlled in some way by any number of things. That there could be any number of things. We have to wake up to that and realize what we need to do and what our real responsibilities are, and we cannot ask anyone else to clean that up for us, because in doing so we hold everyone back, including the people who know what they need to do if they're taking solitude. And we can't just make them heal, grieve, grow differently than the way they know they need to do it. You can't just bombard in and tell them how to live or anything. You know what I mean? And it's interesting to me too, because I've had the experience before of knowing what I need to do, and doubting it because I kind of didn't, I just would get paralyzed by self-doubt personally. But the ultimate truth is we're all doing what we need to do to reach that natural point of unifying and being stronger, healthy, healed, and ready. And I know that it's scary to think, oh, well, what if we don't have time? Well, we can come up with contingency plans in the meantime and know that we are going to reach that point of unifying and being stronger and better. We don't have to worry. And at the same time, we do. The fact is, we just have a lot of work to do. And again, no one's coming to save us. We can't demand that anyone else do the work for us. We're holding everyone back. We're holding the people back who are grieving or growing in their own way, and or who are discovering themselves in the way they need to discover themselves. I'm not saying don't, I'm saying mainly that, and I'm also saying that it's important to listen. We can just listen and eventually let it sink in and process and learn from that active listening. And that's how we can stay connected while we're also doing the things that we need to do for ourselves and discovering ourselves and what we need to take care of in ourselves. And as a collective, I think that we're healing in our own unique ways and in a community-based way, and it's all coming together. Do your part and support each other in the way that each person needs to naturally grow and heal and take the path they need to take. I know it's scary and it feels like you're doing it alone, but I promise we're all healing together. In solitude and together at the same time, if that makes any sense. And Black women, I support and respect your decision to do what you know you need to do. And I'm grateful to you for so many wonderful things, including setting that boundary. You know, we all need to leave you alone. And I love you all. I am going to, continue to rest. And I have something else going on. I have another medical thing going on. That's the rest I'm referring to specifically right now. But the rest that I'm talking about in the video is referencing going on your own personal therapeutic path and letting people do that, especially Black women. Because we all need to discover ourselves, and we're kind of in a discovery phase. So I'm in support of that the best I can, and I'm sorry if I'm messing up in any way. I'm happy to be supportive of whatever needs to be done, whatever needs to be felt. And, if I have more thoughts, I'll share them further on, because I hope to grow into a better and more supportive person and keep progressing into being that kind of person. So I hope I'm making sense. I'm very sleepy, but I love you all, and keep discovering yourselves.